Welcome to today's video. We're going to talk about stack manipulation or enter the battlefield effects.
Some of the tips and tricks.
It could be a trick, it could be a trap, it could be a rules tech. Any of those fit this category today. We're looking at a scenario where we have two enter the battlefield effects that are going to basically cancel each other out. In the long scheme of things, most of the time that is probably what's going to happen. But there are instances, because of the way the stack works, that somebody dies before the life gain hits. And that's what we're going to show you today, is how the stack is built. And we're going to be using Arena for that, because we've actually set this up in Arena. And we're going to see two instances where somebody survives, putting a bunch of tokens into play, and somebody dies, putting a bunch of tokens into play. And it's the same basic concept of put a bunch of tokens down. It's whose turn is it and what order the things go on the stack and then pop off. A stack or the stack is last in, first out, or a LIFO entity. So if you're a computer science major, that terminology should be familiar with you. The last thing that goes on the stack is the first thing that pops off the stack. So when you're looking at that stack and having things pop off, you've got to check between each of those pops the state-based actions to see if you're dead. And that's why you could conceivably die even though you have a ton of life gain on the stack. So what cards are we using today for this?
We'll be using a Johnny's Welcome for the Gain of Life, which will be in your deck. And then I'll be playing Trespasser's Curse to curse my opponent, which is Pranger in this case, to make him lose a life when a creature enters.
We're only going to show you a snippet of it. We're not going to show you the whole game. We're just going to show you the snippet that applies to this rule discussion, where I make a bunch of tokens, I gain a bunch of life, I lose a bunch of life. One time I survive, and the next time I don't. It's all based on whose turn it is, whose turn order. And that's what the video is going to cover. Tell me what we're looking at here, Logan.
Alright, today we're looking to do a little bit of the stack manipulation as we talked about earlier. So I will be using Trespasser's Curse. I have put a curse on Pranger to basically whenever a creature enters the battlefield under his control, he will lose a life and I will gain a life. And his Johnny Welcome allows him to gain a life whenever a creature enters the battlefield under his control. This will allow us to do the stack manipulation that we talked about earlier.
I'll take that real quick point out here. I know that my hand is full of life gain stuff, and I could put any one of them down and counteract his Trespasser's Curse and end up gaining life off of all this, but we wanted to show you a one-for-one exchange. If I put down another Johnny's Welcome, it becomes a different scenario on the death part. So that's why you only see one of those down. This is a very set up scenario. Let's take a look at the life totals real quick. My life total is 8, and that's the problem. I'm putting enough tokens onto the field that I can kill myself, and we'll see how that works. So from my point of view, what's going to happen, every time I put a creature on the field, my Johnny's Welcome is going to fire off, and I'm going to gain a life. What's going to happen when I put a creature on the field from your point of view, Logan?
So when you put a creature into the battlefield under your control, from my point of view will show Trespasser's Curse go onto the stack, and you will be losing a life and I will be gaining a life, and then your Johnny's Welcome will also be going on the stack, and the order depends on whose turn it is.
This is that scenario that we talked about. It's like things appear to balance out, and that's what it's going to appear to look like. But between each instance of my life gain and his life loss, the stack is checked. I just happen to survive each one of those. So let's go ahead and roll the video. Let's see what spell I'm casting. It's one of those Phyrexian spells where I'm putting in tokens of mites, lots of poison counters could come from a play, but we're not worried about any of that. We're just worried about all the instances of life gain, life loss going on to the stack. Let's build that stack.
Right, here we go.
Right. There it is. All those things appeared all of a sudden. Boom. Now, it's his turn. So what's happening?
Alright, due to being my turn, my curse goes on first, and then we will be seeing your Johnny's Welcome hit the stack here in a little bit.
And there it is, 16 instances of a Johnny's Welcome. In essence, they cancel each other out. So go ahead and run those 6. And now we're up to the Trespasser's Curse. Notice my life total is 24. I know there's 16 on the stack. I will survive it. Oh man, there's that vampire.
Yeah, I had to have a way to get you down to that 8 life a little bit fast. But don't worry, I'll remove it for you.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and get rid of that vampire so we don't have to do that when we do the second round of this.
Alright, here's a murder for you.
Ah, the old classic murder. How many times I've had creatures die to that. Oh yeah, and then you get one more. Yep. So, all right, so there's the first scenario. Here we're on to the second scenario. Now we're on my turn, so we cast the spell. I'm going to cast Raise the Alarm. You can see it up there in my hand. So let's go ahead and cast that spell.
Alright, here we go. You actually did play a land first.
I do. It's just ingrained in me to play my land. There we go. So there we go. My Raise the Alarm went out, created 16 of creatures, and now I'm going to build the stack. Now, I'm the person whose turn it is, so my stuff goes on the stack first. Note my life total is 8. Go ahead and build that a Johnny's Welcome piece of the stack.
Alright, let's get that Johnny Welcome on the board.
There it is, 16 instances. And then we're going to build the rest of the stack.
Alright, there's the Trespasser's Curse.
There we go. His triggers will fire off first, and notice what happens to my life total as we go through these Trespasser's Curse. Remember, I've still got 16 wonderful life gains from a Johnny's Welcome on the stack.
But unfortunately, you will not be seeing them.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I don't. Go for it. There they are. Watch slowly. You can see those red ones coming through there. And after each one, it checks to see if I'm dead. And there I hit 0. And when I hit 0, it doesn't care that I've got 16 of those Johnny's Welcomes triggers. It's like, you're dead. Game over, man. Doesn't matter now. Game's over. Stack goes away completely. And I'm just a crater. It's all that's left of me. I think that video ends here in just half a second.
Alright, and here's the end.
There we go. And we're back to the video. And that's the stack, people. That is how you check each time a stack item pops off for state-based actions. That's going to include character death, creature death, things like that. So, one place I lived, one place I died. Lesson learned, be mindful of whose turn it is, because you go in turn order. So if there was a third or a fourth person in this game, if we were doing a commander pod, there might be persons before or after me. This is only a 2-player game, so it was a real straightforward one or the other one on stack. But if you got 3 or 4 players, you might have multiple enter the battlefield effects, and you have to build the stack. If you're in paper, you may actually want to put the cards in the center of the table and build the stack that way, and then pop them off and keep track of it like that. As you get better, as you move along, do this faster, you really just kind of go, okay, this is a scenario where they cancel out. So he stays at 8 life. There's the 16 creatures. And then the second game is like, oh, I cast on my turn. My mistake. I'm dead. So that is what we wanted to show you today in this video. Recap, stack manipulation, tip, trip, trap. What do you think?
I think it's a little bit of everything. It depends on how it's used, especially if you flash something in, that could help. But it can be beneficial for any of those categories, in my opinion.
Scenario that comes to mind for me would be if you had blue in this deck and Ley Line of Anticipation out, or actually even a Vidalcan Ore out, you could have held on to the Trespasser's Curse, and when I cast either of my 2 creation spells, you'd probably wait till my turn,
when I cast my Raise the Alarm, and you could have dropped the Trespasser's Curse while I've still got Raise the Alarm in the air. And at that point, it's like, okay, your Trespasser's Curse goes down, then my Raise the Alarm goes off. Yes, it drops 16 Johnny's Welcomes on there. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to win. I'm going to go some life. Yeah, no. Yeah, I get 16 life, you take 16 life, and then that's it. So you got to watch out for those flash effects. So think of it as a chip, think of it as a trap, think of it as a rules tech, because that is basically how the rules work. Thank you. And as obligatory, like, subscribe, and share.